everybody. Welcome back to Kayvon in the Game. We are going over the Dallas Cowboys versus the New Orleans Saints. Game starts 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Couple things we're going to go over. Some simple, some short and sweet. But welcome back. We're going to try to be here week to week. We missed the first game. Cowboys beat the Browns last weekend, so we're back this weekend. A couple things as far as the game that I'm looking for. Offense, starting off with Dak Prescott. Shout out to him getting his deal signed to another contract, 4 years. I feel like that's the best thing for this team. We're looking at Trey Lance and the upcoming draft with some rookie quarterbacks. Most you can do is possibly get it to the draft like you did that, get somebody that's in the 3rd or 4th round, and hopefully Mike McCarthy, whoever the future head coach that's coming up, will be there to guide and learn under that. But let's jump in. First thing I'm looking for is the rhythm of the offense. Offense started off hot. Brandon Cooks getting in the end zone. Then Zeke Elliott, shout out to him, getting his first touchdown back as a Dallas Cowboy. But in the second half, the run game kind of got stale, and it looked like they kind of got away from their offense. Last season, Dallas had one of the top 5 offenses in the league. Dak Prescott was second MVP race, but which he should have won. I think Lamar Jackson ended up winning last year, but that's neither here nor there. But they got to find their running game. That's the identity of the offense. Dallas is doing a running back by committee, which look like Rico, and then you got Ezekiel Elliott. He's going to come in. But my change of pace back, you got to put Deuce Vaughn in. Deuce Vaughn is the change of pace back. He's the most explosive back Dallas has right now, despite his stature being roughly like 5'5", 5'6". Burst. You can't teach speed, you can't teach hard, and that's something that Deuce Vaughn had. Guy like myself who used to play running back that is 5'6", 5'7". You got to find a way to get him on the field, whether it's screen, whether it's sweeps, whether it's stretch plays. Find him, let him run behind that big offensive line, behind Cooper Beebe and Tyler Guyton and the rest of those guys, man. Finding your key players, that's what's next for me in this offense. CeeDee Lamb, I know he wasn't there around the time, I want to say, of his contract situation, but you got to find CD. You got to continue finding Brandon Cooks. But who's our 3rd receiver? Tolbert didn't really show much. I think Jalen Brooks had something. To me, by week 5, week 6, if you don't see anything from Tolbert and Brooks, you got to bring Ryan Flournoy in. That's the best bet. Ryan Flournoy, he was looking good during camp. He was looking good during preseason. Get him in, start connecting with that. Simple. And another thing is, for the offense itself, is turnovers. In order for us to win this game, you can't have turnovers against that Saints defense. They're going to come in AT&T Stadium, hungry, ready to go. Everybody plays Dallas Cowboys hard. That's the thing. America's team, they're going to play you hard. They're going to give you all you got. Just found out Marshawn Lattimore, he's out this game with a hamstring injuries. So that way I feel like Dallas will be able to take advantage of those defensive backs. Hopefully they can get into a rhythm, and Mike McCarthy calls a hell of a game. But turnovers, Dak almost had one last week, batted down, but one thing, you can't win a game with turnovers. Anybody that plays football, basketball, whatever, turnovers ruin the game. So if Dak Prescott or the running back, they have to hold on to that ball, and Dak Prescott can't turn the ball. You can't be stale playing offense. All right, so we went over the running game. We went over the finding your key players with CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks, but also, like I said, we need a 3rd receiver, and then turnover. So on to the defense. This is the 2nd week in Mike Zimmer's scheme. The defense played well. I don't think Jerome Ford went over 100 rushing yards last week. I think he got in on a late touchdown, roughly 3rd or 4th quarter. But other than that, the defense looked well. Having Jordan Phillips and then having Joseph in the middle, you can tell that's something that Zimmer is come within the scheme, finding those big defensive tackles, because going back to Dan Quinn's system, going back to Mike Nolan's system, and Rob Marinelli, Dallas never had a defensive line over that 315, 320. They was always 300 pounds or less, lighting the ass. Going back to even David Irvin. David Irvin was roughly 6'7", pushing roughly 275, 290. But to see Linval Joseph and Jordan Phillips, I seen Jordan Phillips, he did a twist stunt in that scheme. Oh my goodness, and took out Deshaun Watson. I was excited as a Cowboys fan because I never seen this defensive line look so good. And then that's the main thing, stopping the run on this defense, and then having a actual green dot guy, Michael Kendricks. I'm glad he decided to come to the defense, because Dallas had J.K., then they had Michael Parsons, then they had, I believe, Malik Hooker. He was the green dot guy. But now you have Michael Kendrick, who is somebody who can play all over the field. He knows Mike Zimmer's scheme, and then you can have Parsons play all over the field like he's normally do. Let him and Overshawn run crazy. Overshawn was looking good last week. He had 11 total tackles. So that's my main thing with this week. Week 2, Zimmer's scheme, and finding something that Dallas can go ahead and go forward with. Mismatches, that's number 2 for this week, going against the Saints. You got to find your mismatches. Parsons and D-Law, you got to find those guys. You got to find the weakest link on that offensive line. I enjoy Zimmer's scheme for this game and let alone going into the future. I hope Dallas can go and win some ball games, and that way we keep them, because not only was the philosophy and scheme difference for Mike Zimmer compared to Dan Quinn, but Dan Quinn always kept Parsons on one side, maybe switched him here and there, but Parsons came out the draft, he was a linebacker, for one. He wasn't no defensive lineman. He only played defensive lineman because Dallas was light on the defensive lineman side when D-Law got hurt his rookie year. So, and him being a player like he is, finding sacks, able to go. But he is Mr. All Around. That's what they used to call him at Penn State, Mr. All Around. And you got to find ways to, whether he's a linebacker, whether he's blitzing in the middle, whether he's blitzing on the edge, you got to find the mismatches for Parsons in that defense. So hopefully this week they'll be able to, find that weak link on that offensive line of the Saints and be able to, get some more sacks. Because he got in for a sack, he had a tip ball, and then had Eric Kendricks ended up intercepting the ball, so that was good. Last but not least is containing Alvin Kamara. That's the best of the best. That's probably one of the best running backs we're going to see this season. Alvin Kamara, he's a dual threat. Catch out the backfield, he can rush. I seen one game a couple years back, we had about 5 to 6 total touchdowns in one game. So it's like basically you cut off the head of a snake. That's the head, you gotta cut that off and then stop the run. That's the main 2 things. I want to say Derek Carr is a player that you also need to stop this week. Derek Carr is more so pocket passer. He's not like Deshaun Watson, which they would do where you have to worry about somebody rushing and passing. I'm sure Derek Carr can get a couple yards rushing the ball, coming out the backfield, but he's more so a pocket passer in that offensive scheme. But what I think is you make Derek Carr beat you with the pass and you stop the run, and that's it. That's simple. Chris Olave, I feel like Trayvon Diggs is going to be back to his usual self week 2, which is good. Kalen Carson was looking good last week as a rookie. And man, like I said, Overshawn, that's who I'm looking forward to seeing this week, let alone going forward to the rest of the year. That's like our heat-seeking missile on his defense. That man was looking good last week. He was looking good before the injury, and then when he was in college, everybody was super excited for him coming out of Texas. So that's my main thing, man. Get your defensive guys, get in position, and find a way to win this week. Like I said, Cowboys versus Saints, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So looking forward to seeing this game, and I appreciate everybody who was listening and tuning in. And like, subscribe, and share with everybody. And once again, this is Kayvon in the Game podcast. Thank you.